How's it going, guys? Today we have math on our side. We have a brand new GME calculator that I want to share with you guys, as well as someone's new DD that has GME's new baseline price is $124.01. Here is their theory to back it up. Now, right now, GameStop has seen a tumble this morning. However, it has been supported by a new level of support, perhaps at $115. We will see with time. It is now crawling back to that resistance level of 121. Originally it was support, but now it's probably going to be a little bit of a challenge to push past it. And in order to push past it, that is the only way to get to $124, which is the new baseline. Let's see what this DD has to say with the grain of salt, the bucket of salt that all DD needs to be taken with more research from yourself, and the fact that this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, but I do want to advise you to smash that bell button, that notification button from when you have obviously been a subscriber already, right? Because that subscribe button is the best way to invest in yourself. And now that you've clicked those two buttons, that like button helps other apes, other Meatball army apes get into this video as well. So without further ado, let's actually skip all the way down to the too long didn't read. Look how long and mathy this video is going to be. You guys are going to love it. We're also going to cover, if you stay until the end, the GME squeeze date calculator. So I want you guys to focus up on here. Too long didn't read. They believe that the baseline price for GME is $124. This is the break-even price of a huge whale that spent $104 million, $116 million if exercised on call options spanning the last 3 days, March 1st to March 3rd. With that in mind, GME closed today at $124. That was yesterday, just 17 cents above this buyer's break even. To go further, every time GME dropped below 124 in after hours, it hits a springboard back above the closing price, and it finally finished at $125 flat. It is their belief that this multi-hundred millionaire, potentially billionaire, has much deeper pockets than what they leveraged out on the options. They're assuredly be using millions more to ensure the success of their $100 million options play, which means keeping the price above their $124 break even. Now that was enough for you. Skip a little bit to the calculator using the scroll feature of this, but don't you dare click away because we got a lot more information. So those of you who like math, we want to be able to cover this in full. So let's say that this is not financial advice. These are just a law student. If you have not yet done so already, please read, skim, or the OP below. Okay, 100 million of deep ITM GME calls have been purchased since Monday. GME Reddit. Okay, very interesting. Let's skim it at least. Okay, they say don't be a dick, so I don't want to be a dick here. Let's make sure that we skim this. Good morning, good afternoon, our fellow Tendymen. Fantastic news. Monday, someone out of the PHLX exchange Philadelphia purchased roughly $45 million worth of deep in the money calls. Tuesday, same exchange, another $20 million deep in the money calls. And Wednesday, another massive purchase of deep in the money calls from PHLX, $45 million expiring 4/16/21. So too long didn't read. One buyer bought $100 million of calls on GameStop the last 3 days. Probably good for us. P.S. If I'm right, my wife's boyfriend says I get to sleep inside. Let's hope that he's right. Good luck to convince your wife's boyfriend of that. I'm having trouble myself. Okay, the user points out in the comments below there's a very strong presumption, a very strong presumption that these calls were all purchased by the same buyer. They're the only one purchasing calls that are this deep in the money within the last 3 days and are all purchased out of the Philadelphia exchange. It's actually mind-boggling to me that anyone would be willing to shell out this much premium and take on the exponential amounts of risk. All in all, it makes the most logical sense that these have all been bought by the same individual when considering the facts that we have. And what facts do we have? Well, now that you know, I hope, each call option has the right to purchase 100 times the underlying. In the calculations below, I assume you can comprehend the following equation. Options, number of options times strike is an exercise cost times 100. Got it? Before you say some dumb stuff in the comments, do not confuse exercise cost with the purchase price of the actual option. We'll get there. Thanks in advance. So we got some actual math. This is the number of purchases on the 1st of March. We got the number of purchases on the 2nd of March, and then finally the 3rd of March. What do these all add up to? I'll save you guys the trouble of calculating. It costs $12 million and change in order for this whale to exercise all of its calls. Next, let's find out what does Leviathan actually spend to acquire these options. Yes, they are now calculating the purchase price. Sorry for the inconvenience. This is kind of reversed, but fine, that is the cost of the purchases. They won't even ask this time. You know they can't count this high. This is a grand total of $104 million. OP's estimate of 100 million was very close. To be blunt, that's a lot. That's a lot of Coke, not Pepsi. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. Now, as OP pointed out, the buyer has the right to purchase almost 1 million shares by April 16th. Nevertheless, they are all in the money, so the buyer can exercise them whenever they feel enlightened. Let's do some more math. Apes love math. This behemoth has already shelled out 104 million for these options and has the right, not obligation, to shell out an additional 12 million for the actual shares. This blah 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 added together is 116. We also know the total number of shares to be potentially exercised is roughly almost 1 million. Using this information, we've done enough work to extrapolate a rough break-even price, $124 a share. That is the total break-even price for this whale. So shut up. I know you just mumbled to yourself, well, that's underwhelming. Just consider yourself a smooth brain. That's why I'm here. I will admit that on its face, it may have seemed like we've wasted everyone's time. However, hold on. Just hit that Moscow Mule and wonder what that means. Welcome back. If you couldn't think of anything, again confirming how smooth your brain is, this guy is kind of mean. A massive buyer just exposed themselves to an exorbitant amount of risk. They could lose tens of millions within minutes. With that in mind, we can guarantee that nobody on the planet would over-leverage themselves in an amount of $116 million without having A, some extremely important information, or B, some serious diamond cojones. My wager would be on the former, but also the latter. In any case, anyone who drops $116 million over the course of 3 days has some deep effing pockets. That they have more money. That is a fact. Compound that with the buyer's break-even at 124. It logically follows we have found our new baseline price for GME at 124. Consider this, GME closed at 124. That's 17 cents above this buyer's break-even. What ensued in after hours? Back and forth, teeter-totter throughout the entire after-hours session. Ultimately, every time GME dropped below $124, it hit a springboard back above the closing price and finally finished at $125 flat. In sum, they believe the new baseline is $124. Relying in the aforementioned ability to deduce logical reasoning, I am resolute in my opinion that this big bag Kahuna slanger will be valiantly defending his or her break-even price at $124. Do not get this confused with them giving an F about us or anyone else. They might, but in its best interest to hold that line, whether it benefits us or not, is probably the least of its concerns. Furthermore, think about it. If you dropped a combined $100 million in 3 consecutive days, you must have a contingency plan. It is their belief that a multi-hundred millionaire, perhaps billionaire, has much deeper pockets than they leveraged on their options. They'll almost assuredly be using millions more to ensure the success of their $100 million play. They would be remiss if they didn't acknowledge that there's slightly possibility that this person is just a smooth brain ape like us hitting a balls deep YOLO play in his entire trust fund inheritance, but I doubt it. If in the event the hypothesis checks out, GME is currently sitting at its new support level. This is bullish and provides a good buying opportunity. Well, today's market open data does not seem to support it. However, you guys just got the rundown on a big whale making a bet, and hopefully it benefits all of us in due time. I did promise you guys the GME calculator, so let's cover that really briefly. You guys deserve a treat for staying all the way to the end. This is a lot of DDs repeating similar assumptions on gamma squeeze delta hedging without actually providing accurate calculation on it. And it seemed with the 7 million plus influx of new members to WallStreetBets, a large portion of newcomers don't know the options Greeks yet. Thus, the reason for this post is to enable everyone in WallStreetBets to calculate the gamma squeeze themselves instead of relying on random DDs figures. Right here it is. So we have the download link right here. I have it pulled up right here. We guys will look at it in a second. Based on the market close data of March 3rd, using options data up to the 3/19 expiry, the net delta hedged shares by market makers stands at 6 million and change. And if GME price were to increase to $200, they would need to buy an additional 6 million shares. Now, suppose you want to see what happens when someone buys 20,000 of March 12th 200 calls. Well, go to that sheet and edit the open interest of the options. It is now blah, blah, blah. The math is there. I will include this in the description to make sure you guys can do your own math. You guys can also check out what it looks like right here. It just opens up out into a Google Doc, and you guys can just go and put in whatever numbers you want to put in here. If you want a full video of covering exactly how to work on this document, well, then go ahead and leave a comment down below. No matter what, leave a comment down below about what do you think about the new support level. Do you think that this video is going to age well? Because we did record it on the morning of March 4th, Thursday, and if it does come back to 124 and is supported by that number, it seems like you heard it here first. Be careful, do your own research, make sure that the DD you do is always pristine, and leave your subscribe by the door. We do a lot of great information on this channel, and at any time, if you guys have a comment, we would love to hear it and make sure that it is heard. You are appreciated. Professor Meatball appreciates you, and for now, but not for forever, hope you have a nice day.